good evening. So we're live again. As always, I'm gonna start off by sharing the video. Hopefully you'll follow suit. It's a little bit of delayed on my phone, so give me some time. There we go. Share. Share now. I just realized I have gum in my mouth, and that probably is not going to work out. So let me get some tissue so I can spit this out. Joe,
it's fine.
Entertain for a second.
All right. So he left me in charge for the moment. We got some good topics we'll talk about today. I'm not sure if I'm well versed on it, but I do have an iPad in front of me that I believe will assist me in the best way possible. Also, we'll be going over the winner today. Is that true?
That is right.
All right, and we'll also we have people in the audience. Hey, listen, check this out. We got a live audience right now.
So give it up for the live audience.
See, you got the haters. You know, you didn't know that people actually showed up to the location and they sit in the audience. We something close to not Oprah, but who can we say we close to?
Remember when Martin had his TV show?
We brought like Martin in this TV show.
So really excited about the conversation tonight. Let's start with just some updates. We had the fish fry this past weekend. Huge thanks to everybody that supported. I would say it personally exceeded my expectations. Huge shout out to the Breaking Bread family for coming through to help us out. Whether you help defrost the fish, whether you made the lemonade, you packed plates, any and all roles were really greatly appreciated. We are planning to have another one. Right now, the tentative date of that one is going to be July 26th. So the perfect part about that is you got Jay-Z and Beyonce on Wednesday night, and then you can get fried fish on Thursday night. Right now the tentative schedule of the next Facebook Live, obviously it's 2 weeks from today, but the next fish fry will be tentative schedule date is July 26th.
I do want to say the fish fry not only was successful, my daughter, I bought one plate, fed pieces to my daughters. They ate my whole plate. And so I wanted to order more the same day, but I couldn't do it. So you better take advantage of it. And that's sincere. That's sincere.
And again, the big pieces we wanted to see how it was going to go, and just using this time just to kind of share the thinking. A really good friend of mine, my sister, Deanne, helped me think about how we were going to do this. I'm looking to her because she's in the audience. And she gave some advice, and she was the one that suggested pre-selling the plates just to make sure that we wouldn't have any wasted food. And to my amazement, we sold out the pre-sale plates in one day. All plates were accounted for, so much so that I had to go to the local grocery store. I'm too transparent. Kia telling me stop. Had to go to the local grocery store to get some more fish. So with that, based off that demand, we're actually going to try to increase the plates. I want to challenge us. I want to try to sell 50 plates for July. I think we can do it. So for July fish fry, I think we have an opportunity to do 50 plates. Menu will be the same. Fried fish, 2 pieces, mac and cheese, coleslaw, 2 pieces of bread. For those that actually ate at the house, we had a surprise and had some banana pudding, as well as some lemonade. So definitely open invite for those in the Carolinas. If you want to come visit, you're more than invited. We'll figure it out. Second piece, so the winner of the Facebook challenge for the Jay-Z and Beyonce tickets. Again, the ways of entry were you had to share a video, you had to like us on Instagram, and you had to comment in one of the videos. And I'm happy to say the winner is one of my coworkers, Megan Gorecki. So I'm super excited for her. I will bring the tickets for you tomorrow, Megan. Excited to see you at the show as well. So let's get to the conversation that's on hand today. There's been obviously a lot kind of going on, clearly in the news, and I think we wanted to be timely and make sure that the conversations that we were having were of the moment. And immigration, I think, is relevant of the moment now. There's it's been kind of, obviously, it was a huge piece of what our president ran his campaign off of, building the wall. Obviously, then fast forward a little bit of time, there's been a lot of conversations about the Muslim travel ban. And then the latest piece that really kind of hit was keeping families together and kind of the zero tolerance policy when people were trying to come into the U.S. So I will, as Joe kind of said, him and I were doing a little bit of pre-talking before. I don't know a whole lot about this subject. I wanted it to be kind of an organic conversation. So I'm really hopeful that those that are watching can contribute to the conversation, because we're leaning on you guys a lot today. We just wanted to put the conversation on the table. And again, I want to walk away and learn something. As Joe said, we have the iPad, so we need to. We can do some real-time research and kind of just have some conversations about some data that we have or that we're reading. But with that being said, I guess I'll start with just some initial thoughts. When I think about America and the idea of America, and the notion that America is the melting pot, any are all welcome. The American dream, rookie mistakes. See, I had mine one.
I didn't hear it.
I find it hard that we're at a place that a country that was built off of immigrants is at a place that it's become such a divisive topic. And again, I totally understand and can appreciate the conversation about border control and really having a process or a system to ensure those that are coming into the country, we're accounting for them. But I go back to something that was said in one of our earliest videos about the humanitarian point of it and how, and I guess for me, I do separate out refugees, those that are seeking asylum from trying to get out of really bad situations, versus those that are seeking the American dream, versus those that are, I don't know, just coming in whatever reasons, because they got family here or whatever. So again, I'm not well versed. So again, I'm hoping that I learn something and get some clarity on some points of view that people might have to offer. So Joe, any thoughts? Or Kia, anybody online serve up anything yet?
So right now, I know immigration is a hot topic. I honestly believe all are welcome. Everyone should show up, right? But then I also understand the downside of that. I also understand that you can open your borders. Too many people come in, takes away jobs. It increases economy in a negative, or it could impact economy in a negative way, right? And I don't know. I don't know. This is all just Joe Brim with the assumptions. So in my mind, the way it works is there's limited resources. There are limited opportunities. Though American is the place of dreams and freedom, there's still limits to what we have as it relates to housing, as it relates to, again, employment, as it relates to resources. Do you believe that those who are against immigration are trying to protect those types of things that are available to hopefully them first, versus those that come from the outside? Like I said, I believe that some should. I mean, I believe that immigration or people should come here, but I'm just now trying to argue or be, just try to point out both sides.
I don't know, right? So let's break it up to each bucket, right? So refugees seeking asylum. I believe the humanitarian thing to do is to first give people a sense of hope and protection. I find it especially odd when we, as a country, often try to influence situations around the world about what it means to be a humanitarian and sharing kind of Western influences, if you will, whether it's them from making it more a democratic society or breaking pieces. So I think from refugees, I think first and foremost, we as self-identified as one of the richest nations in the world should put people first. I think for those that are coming to seek the American dream, I do think there should be the thing that President Obama, a pathway to citizenship. Again, I don't know what that pathway looked like, but I do think there should be a process There, somebody provides an application, this, that, and the third.
But that's available though, right?
I would believe so.
I mean, so okay, so let's take a break. Everything that we're talking now is emotional opinion. Is not
opinion.
Factual, right? It's all opinion. So if we say anything that is not right,
check us.
Yeah, check us. Let us know. Where we're missing the mark. So the reason why I say that is it's just going to free me up to just kind of talk thought versus trying to articulate a specific point. But so in my opinion, though, in order for a humanitarian, you do bring a lot of people, a number of people over. Does that increase taxes? Does that? I mean, how will it actually work? Versus, and again, it's just an opinion.
From a refugee standpoint, right? So from a refugee standpoint, I believe outside of even getting to that piece is the thing that I think about, and again, I guess, is first providing people a sense of security and a sense of being safe. Kia, we have any comments?
Yes, Michelle says, as a daughter of immigrants, there has always been a bias to immigrants and being looked upon different. I just think now we have more of a voice by social media, which is great. She also says immigrants have been shown to give a surplus in economic growth by billions of dollars by a recent study.
Okay.
She also wants to know to call in.
Oh, sure, Michelle, you can call my phone. Actually, I'll call you. Deanne, you had a comment that you wanted to share?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
All right. So yeah, so I know there's a due process that people can take to become immigrants and to actually be legal in the States. I am aware that is available. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like people are trying to bypass that process for whatever reason. It could be financial, it could be time, it could be whatever. Some may not even know that it's available. So,
yep, Michelle, we got you on the phone. So you can mute and just let us know. Text me when you want to say something.
No, just unmute and start talking. Yeah. So how if we have that in place, what's the problem?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Michelle.
So I think honestly, like growing up, my parents spoke Spanish. Our last name is Lopez. My sibling. I was born in America, but my siblings were born. I think it's just unknown. People think that we are coming in here to take jobs when it's not that. And we came in legally. We came in, got our residential and our green cards, and finally became citizens. But it's just people don't like what they don't know. And if you're not the same, I mean, it's the same thing that Black people have to deal with, or anybody else. It's a difference in creating a different culture that people don't like change.
Okay, so really, it's not really a problem. Is that what we're saying? The fear is, again, could someone believe, they're going to take?
Well, I think the hard part is, and again, I'm focusing purely on the current president's strategy when he ran for his campaign and painting a portrait that. They're rapists and they're killers and they're bringing drugs in. So, So if you're painting the portrait of a specific group of immigrants that are coming from a specific region, then not that I'm saying that it's okay, but I think that's what's created kind of this mania or this fear around immigration, or what has really. And again, I think there's always been conversations about specifically that region from the drug cartel, and that region, let me be specific, Mexico, around drug cartels and things of that nature, and really trying to ensure that we're protecting our borders to minimize the amount of drug trafficking that was coming into the country. So I remember, for me, growing up, most of the conversations that I would hear when it came to protecting the borders was mostly around protecting it from the amount of drugs coming into the country.
Right.
And I think now, in addition to that, I think that's still part of the story, but I think in addition to that, there has been this recent portrait of these people, of generalizing these people from this region, Mexico, Latin America, as rapists, killers, all of these other things. So again, if immigrants were coming in, I hate saying that, if immigrants were coming in following the pathway to citizenship.
Right.
I don't believe there should be any biases associated with it because again, we are a country built off of immigrants.
Right.
And it's the melting pot. I think if you're trying to paint this issue of immigration and protecting the borders because a stereotype associated with a certain group, I think that's where it becomes problematic. So whether you want to look at it from the Muslim travel ban and trying to limit the amount of people coming in from certain countries based upon a practice of religion, but we live in a country that has freedom of religion, or from a country or countries of South America based upon a generalization of what some people have done coming into the country.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, why are people against immigration? I agree for immigration, but why are people against it?
Yeah.
Well, it's easy when you're a politician to alienate a group of people that can't vote for you. So if you create a target. Now, of course, I'm talking about undocumented. I mean, there's always, definitely a very thin line of being undocumented, saying most undocumented people do pay taxes. So instead of trying to just get them arrested, breaking up families with undue process, why don't we try to find an easier way for citizenship, as America is literally full of immigrants, as none of us were originally from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Keely have a comment.
We have a comment. Would it be more cost effective to send troops to places of unrest so people could stay in their country? Is it possible that there is no oil in these areas, so U.S. is not interested?
I think that's fair. So
Okay.
I think from mobilizing the military, right? So if we think about, let's talk about them mobilizing the military and having a military presence in places. And I think part of the challenge that I see in that is America then becomes what it tried to be already, the citizen of the world. And I think there's a stigma associated with how can you go out and try to citizen the world when essentially your home isn't even in order, right? And who's to say that our policies and or the way that we, I don't know what the right word is, govern, is an acceptable norm or standard to try to go and employ somewhere else. So I think that's one of the things that I struggle with from mobilizing the military to go to these places. And I guess that point was to address specifically refugees, correct? Yeah, to address refugees. What do you think about mobilizing the military to places where refugees are trying to come to the U.S. from?
Now, again, I'm uneducated. So
just your opinion. Just your opinion. So let me paint a story. So say in Colombia, there are, and again, I'm painting a story just to kind of go with this example. In Colombia, there's an immense amount of drug cartel, right. And you have people that don't feel comfortable living in their towns and or villages, right, based upon activities, based upon said drug cartel, that are now trying to escape out of Colombia and escape to the U.S. to provide a better opportunity for their children. Right. The question on the table is, rather than us opening the doors to bring them in, how about we as America send a military presence down to Colombia to support the government or the people within that town and or village to get some stability?
To kind of reside there in that location, or to grab people and bring them back? To
reside there so they don't have to leave home. So to bring some stability in their towns and villages.
Pretty interesting concept. I mean, you would be taking.
That'll cost the government even more money, and those governments don't want you there. It'll cost lives of army men, and I have family in Venezuela, where the ban is now in place, and they are law-abiding citizens. They're good people. But if they needed to come to America to escape the dictatorship that they have, the military dictatorship, they wouldn't be allowed to.
Yeah, because then
if you want to send troops there, situation to take resources away from the people that already don't have resources and try to westernize countries that don't want to be westernized, or not even westernized, but, you know, it didn't work in Iraq, it didn't work in Korea, it didn't work in Iran. I mean, us, when we go settle somewhere, it really doesn't work, and it costs us more money than it would save.
So, and I tend to agree with you, and I think I hit it more from less about it didn't work and more about I find it hard to throw stones at a glass house when we have so many opportunities within our own borders, as opposed to trying to be the authority of moral conviction and or the authority of what's right and wrong in other places, in foreign soils, if you will. And I think, again, I will agree in the point that we've tried to employ those tactics in other countries without... let me say it. I believe if we had the ability to value others' cultures and come in and be partners to help understand what the opportunity is and maybe use some of our resources to support that region as opposed to trying to convert them to what we believe our governing ways are, I think I would be a little bit more inclined to hear that as a conversation. I think I struggle when we try to go and directly employ our tactics of what a society should be or look like, even if the moral compass is to provide stability and safeness for these people. I struggle because we haven't quite yet created that within our own borders.
Yeah. But I think it's unfair to keep people out in an attempt to resolve like moral issues. Mm-hmm. There are bad people everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, some sell drugs, but to say that we should keep Muslims out or Hispanics out or Latino, whoever out mm-hmm. for moral reasons, I think that's a reach. I believe that's a reach. And then to try to justify it with, they'll take from you here, they won't help here, they'll lean on the government assistance programs, they will do X, Y, and Z. And coming from some of the places that I've been exposed to immigrants, I mean, they create businesses in certain neighborhoods faster than many people that are not. So it's a touchy subject because, again, I don't know much about it. But I also don't understand why people are so adamant about pushing them away versus embracing the immigrants. I mean, I don't know economically. I don't know what's justifying that argument. That fear, right? Other than the fear that's placed on us by the media, by whomever is telling a specific narrative.
So propaganda,
right? So, I don't want people to come to my house because, hey, man, they steal, and I'm teaching you that, and you're like, okay, shoot, I don't want nobody here because they mm-hmm. steal, when in essence, that's, why am I telling you that? Is it because, I want rights to you? I don't know. I just don't understand that.
Any comments, Kia?
None other than Radiant says the issue is resources.
Well, that's why I'm going to go with Deanne's
so second point. So the fear of resources?
So let's hit it on two angles. So first, do we believe these countries, because their lack of us getting anything from them, now outside of Iran and Iraq when it comes to the crude oil, but Latin America, do we see, is there a vested interest in the U.S. in...
Venezuela actually has the largest reserve of oil in the world.
So hold on. So what are you? Okay. So stop. Are you saying are we?
So will we be more inclined to care about these? Will we be more inclined to play nice with these countries where people are trying to immigrate from if they had resources that would be beneficial to the U.S.?
That's bizarre, though. I think that's I guess it's following the money.
Well, what's your incentive, right? So Joe, you got a blown out tire and you call me to help you. I would say that as your friend, if you call me, I'm going to help you out. Right. I would hope that I wouldn't need an incentive. Hey, Rob, man, if you can come help me change my tire, I'm going to give you $20. Right? True. So I could, but the humanitarian part of me says, okay, I should go help a friend out in need. The extra motivation comes, he's going to give me $20. Yeah, I don't care about my inconvenience because I can get something out of this deal. And I guess that's where I just kind of go to the correlations of if there was incentives for the U.S., for X, Y, and Z. Pick country, Muslim banned country, Latin America, whoever we're trying to restrict. Because I would say, are we employing these same tactics to our borders up north with Canadians? Mm-hmm. Are we employing maintain that same energy? Are we keeping that same energy with trying to keep Canadians from trying to sneak in?
I don't think they want to come.
And are we, let me ask you guys this, are we really doing something about it in America to prevent people from coming, or is this all talk?
We got the wall coming.
Is it for real coming?
Yeah, as long as you pay for it.
I ain't paying for it.
So
I want my money. I'm trying to buy a house. Yeah. So are we is America just talking? You know, are we really doing something? You don't know?
I mean, what the executive order. So we've always had pretty hard stances on illegal immigration, and not wanting undocumented workers in here. We wanted people to do it the right way to come. It does take a lot of time, energy, and money, and it is hard. But I mean, versus the rest of the world, America is actually not the hardest country to become a citizen in. Europe is, and like England is a lot harder. If you're born in England, you have to live there for 5 years. If you're the child of an immigrant, stuff like that. So, what I think is that the issue why this has become inflamed is that not only is this executive order that was put through by Trump through Jeff Sessions, and his order was that all people that cross the border get separated from children as a punishment. Now, that's without due process. That's without being charged. That's not even asking if they're refugees, because there was people from Guatemala after the natural disasters, people from Venezuela trying to escape the dictatorship. No questions asked. Just, you came over here, you don't have an American passport, you're separated. And I think the issue people are having is, where's the due process? If you can do this to people that yes, they're undocumented, but you're still doing that to people, that's a crime, you know?
So let's make this personal.
That people
let's make this live. So you and your family go on vacation.
Right.
Pick your ideal vacation out the country. Where would you go? Jamaica.
Okay. Spain or Jamaica.
Whoever.
Okay.
So that's you're excited about going to Jamaica, right?
Okay.
So you get to Jamaica, and you and Mel immediately get separated from your kids.
But hold on, stop. So okay, because you're tripping. Are you saying I took a trip? You took a trip. I bought the tickets. I'm legally flying to Jamaica.
Sure. No, but for the sake of argument. For the sake of argument.
I'm sneaking into Jamaica.
You're sneaking into Jamaica.
Okay.
Because you want to see crystal blue water 24/7.
And they separated.
So before even engaging in a conversation with you about why you want to come to Jamaica to live, you and Mel go in one room, the kids go in another. Kids are now enter into some type of system where they're associated with some type of letter that's supposed to follow them through the system, while you and Mel are waiting your opportunity to get before the government to plead your case why you should be welcomed into Jamaica.
As a citizen.
With a pathway to citizenship.
Okay, so opinion. Yes, I'd be pissed if you separate me from my children.
And you have no way of communicating with them.
Yeah, and I have no way of communicating with them. I don't know where they at and what people are doing to them. That's my first thought. Yep. Where they at and what people are doing to them. And then on top of that, I'm 9 out of 10 sure they're going to separate me from my wife too. Right? I don't think we're going to both be sitting in the same cell or spot. So I believe that's not right. I mean, let me say, not that it's not right, but that's very taxing on the family. So, and I get that.
So that's what's happening. Yeah. And I guess, and again, these stories are a dime a dozen, unfortunately. I think, kind of to Michelle's point, this is because of what's going on, is bringing a lot of attention. But the one that I heard on today's show this morning was even so much so that a woman that was coming over from Guatemala to get separated from her son took months for her to even find out where her son was. Once her case was reviewed and accepted as deemed, yeah, you had a right to even go through the process. So much so that the damage done to her son, he felt as if his mom abandoned him.
Dang.
So he doesn't even so she's struggling. Like now she knows they've been able to locate him, but he felt abandoned by her.
Yeah, because you would think that because you
6-year-old
boy. Why wouldn't they come get me? So what would be a solution? Because now resources, the concept of resources shift now. Do we not have the resources or manpower to put the cases, to work through the cases fast enough? So in an attempt to, because we don't have, we can't work through the cases fast enough. Do they separate? Is that why they doing what they're doing, or is it?
Yeah, they're very backed up. I don't know 110%, but I do know that is some of the issues. Is that it takes sometimes months to years to hear cases.
And
so
I think
you build a camp or something.
Well, essentially that's what's going on. And I think what's scary is, and I know Kia has a comment. There are thousands of kids now in the system,
but it's still separated.
So now I guess as a show of good faith, the zero policy is still in place, but there are a more conscious effort to keep families together, which is cool for everybody that has yet to be impacted, but doesn't do anything quite yet for those that were already impacted. So now they're trying to right, I don't want to say wrongs, because they're trying to correct what they've done and trying to connect families back together. And there's still thousands of kids that are still trying to go. Kia has a comment, Michelle, real fast.
So Amanda says, in her opinion, white conservatives are afraid of becoming a minority. Immigration will never be reformed until more people of color are in a position to take a stand and make the change.
So that's heavy. That's heavy. There's a couple things there. Michelle, did you hear the question?
No, I didn't.
So Kia, I'm gonna ask you to repeat the question again for us.
So white conservatives are afraid of becoming a minority. Immigration will never be reformed until more people of color are in a position to take a stand and make the change.
But would it? See, I'm trying to figure out: does it really impact resources, jobs, taxes? Does it really impact it? Does it or does it? Is that what people tripping out over, or is it truly we don't want to lose? As a white person, I don't want to lose power, position, so I'm doing what I need to do to protect that.
So let's put that on the table. And again, we have to address the comment, the racial implications associated with immigration. So does that? So the question earlier was about raw materials and if there's an incentive for the U.S. to support these neighboring countries when it comes to immigration. So we kind of talked a little bit about that. We talked about military mobilization to offer stability. Now the racial component. Do we believe that the fear of becoming the minority is what's the motivating factor of trying to minimize the amount of immigrants that are coming in? So what I would say. So let's do a hypothetical. If say there was a natural disaster in a predominantly white country, Iceland, Scotland, would we? Again, I'm sticking with. Will we keep that same energy with those immigrants? Do we believe, based upon the comment that was just put on the table?
That's a great question.
Okay. Kia has a comment. Go ahead, Kia.
So we have two comments. Radius says, sadly, so many that are currently on their way to the border have zero clue about the separation of children policy. So the policy was not fulfilling its purpose in deterring migrants from coming through the border. Amanda she's saying resources can be made available if it becomes a priority. We make resources available for what we want.
So Michelle, go ahead with your point.
Sorry, I forgot.
So again, if say again, God forbid, and I don't want to wish this on anybody, But
why don't they have natural disasters? Why don't they have Iceland, Ireland? What they doing?
So if Iceland had a natural disaster and was seeking protection within our country, coming over by boats and any other way that they can get here, do we believe that we will maintain that same? So now these are people of the same complexion of what we would assume to be most people in power within our democracy. Do we think they would have a faster pathway to citizenship, or will we open them with open arms? Or not even go that crazy. People in Canada. If it's Canadians trying to come in.
Trump's comment, he said, when he said the shithole comment, he said, why can't we get more people from Norway? I mean, that is that's the most Caucasian country in the world almost.
He said, okay, say that again.
Why can't we get more people from Norway?
Y'all tripping. So seriously, you saying that's sad. If that's the case, then man, we need to go. We need to open the borders, man. We just set up posts and just anybody can come in. That would be a horrible reason why you would keep someone out. I'm sorry. That's horrible.
So Pam is.
Yeah, but that's the reality of it.
So we have a comment. Go ahead.
Pam is co-signing that. She said the president already said those people, folks from places like Sweden and such, are the kinds of immigrants we need more of. So
let's stay there. No. Let's stay there. Let's not dismiss the point. Let's stay there for a second. Go ahead, Kia.
Amanda is adding, do we have child camps in our northern border? Or on our northern border?
That's a good question. So let's put onto the table. Do we believe, and what were those countries, Kia, again, that Pam called out?
She said Sweden.
So Sweden. Let's focus on Sweden and Norway. Do we believe that people from Sweden and Norway, or those countries, offer, so going under the lens of incentive, bring more to our society and democracy than those of Hispanic or Latino?
Okay, let me ask you. That's a great. Are they in a better position than Sweden?
I'm just trying to. If the idea is we need more of those type of immigrants and less of these type of immigrants, outside of the race piece alone, and obviously I'm super downplaying the race. Clear, I believe it's as simple as black and white, but I'm trying to open my mind to say, are there other things that could be? Are we assuming that people from Norway and Sweden are more educated?
Right.
More educated? Do they offer and bring more to the democracy and the community than Latinos? I'm not sure. So we have a comment from Don Brim, and he's saying let his comments come through. Saki, I need you to find what Don is saying, because he got something that he want to get off his chest.
Type it in. That's my little brother. Call us if you need.
Yeah, get it off your chest.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go to our live studio audience. Do we believe that?
Because y'all educate. That'll be sad. But go ahead.
Do we believe that immigrants that are coming in the U.S. from Sweden, Norway, or countries that bring those type of potential future citizens versus those of the borders down below bring more to our society, which is why we value those more?
I think the people that are in power think that it's not about bringing more to society. I think it goes back to the percentage of white people. They're going to be in the minority in the next 30 years. And so we'll have a playing field and still be uneven, but they'll be in the minority. And so if you bring those blonde-haired, blue-eyed individuals in or let them in, then they won't possibly be in the minority as much.
So for those that may not have been able to hear, the point of view is really about maintaining the perception of being in the minority. Being in the majority and not being in the minority. So if you were to open the borders to people from countries where it was more Caucasian, it would help in adding to the narrative of supporting the Caucasian majority in what many would believe the coloring of America, where they will soon become the minority over time as America becomes much more diverse because of the nature of us being a melting pot.
So Pam says, no. What is the measure of currency we're considering here? Intellectual property, intelligence in general, wealth, creativity, all of this generates wealth, so we'd be foolish to X people out just on the basis of race and ignorant assumptions about geographical locations. Hashtag whack.
I don't disagree.
Now, y'all educate. Seriously, I'm for immigration, like bringing them in. I'm for it. But I always thought.
Why are you for?
Cause me, man, like if someone's in need, I'm just that type of person, just from heart. You know, if you need something, I got you. If you don't have it, if I have it, you can have it. If that means that I can't live in a 2-story mansion just so that you can have a house, fine.
A 2-story mansion. I want to see what that looks like.
I ain't say 3. I'm going for the 3. You see what I'm saying? If it requires for me to have less so that you can have more, that's just my heart.
You're just a socialist.
Yeah, that's what, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think that's the misconception, though, that immigrants are taking away from other people. America has a GDP of larger than most of the world combined. There is so much opportunity here, and especially in a time that the middle class is eroding, immigrants coming into undocumented or having an influx of immigrants aren't taking resources away. So I think that's a common misconception that people think that's happening, but we are one of the largest countries in population, land mass, and GDP. There's plenty of room. There's plenty. We need Chiefs and Indians. We need people to work.
I hear you, Michelle. So let me ask this question.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing. I don't think they're taking things away. I'm saying giving them a chance to.
So if immigrants came and went to Wyoming and South Dakota and North Dakota and was settling in more rural areas as opposed to what I would assume is many come to the urban areas that are already, the perception might be that those are already overly congested areas. So do we need more people in New York City, or could we figure out a pathway of citizenship, and then we just ship them to Wyoming? Do we ship them to South Dakota and North Dakota where there's huge land, but the population density may not be as saturated as certain populations or certain cities?
But that's a mishandling too.
I don't
just
think
shipping them on.
really
Just shipping
fair
people.
to be like, hey, come into our country, but you have to do what we want you to do.
I'm just trying to find that happy medium
No,
of.
totally. And I think that New York is oversaturated with so many people, but New York would not be New York without those immigrants. Chinatown and Italian and German, and I mean, New York is New York because of immigrants. Literally, Ellis Island is one of the largest points to go see in New York.
Yeah, I mean, it's well documented. Yep.
But hold on, let's go back. If it is because they're trying to maintain
the whiteness of
America, if that's the fact, then dude, they don't care where you go. It don't matter. Forget Wyoming. It could be. It don't matter. It's just we don't want you here because of that situation.
And can we all agree that that's not right?
No, that's not right.
Okay.
I don't care if y'all agree or not. That's not right. You shouldn't do that. I mean, but
so I think many believe that are in opposition of the immigration bans is that is a motivational tactic of what's giving energy behind these bans and these walls is to try to protect those that are in power of being the majority and staying in power.
Man, that's like a KK. That's crazy.
Go ahead and finish that thought. You stopped yourself. Go ahead. You're like, that's like Krispy Kreme. Stop letting Dunkin' Donuts come. Go ahead.
Man, is that for real?
I think
if that's the case. Okay, so now just for
the elephants on the room.
Yeah, if that's the case.
Yep.
Then racism and racial issues, biases. Dude, that's really that. Now I understand why I was just watching this the beginning part of this documentary on Netflix. It was called Jihad. And one of the guys said, "Man, the American way of putting people of color down across the world and highlighting the whites. That's why that's an easy way for them, because he lived in London. That was an easy way for him to join this extremist." Jihad, to go fight and blow up things. So anyway, if that's fact, dude, that we need how we got to blow that up.
But see, that's what goes
not blow. I mean, meaning racism.
We got to burst that bubble.
Yeah, we have to burst.
There you go. Okay, burst that bubble.
That's crazy. if that's fact.
So let me put this to the table. Monitoring the time, we got about 15 minutes. If we can't deal with our own biases within our country when it comes to how people of color feel treated, why do we believe immigrants, the way that we treat immigrants, is any different?
But it's not we. It's the system that's treating them that way. And they're treating us this.
I'm saying America.
But see, hold on. So it's easy for now is America treating you like that because we want to stand behind it. But really, it's not all of America treating you guys like that. It's the system treating you like that.
The culture of America,
and it ain't the culture. That's. Well, I get what you saying.
I'm just throwing these things out.
Yeah, it's the culture of America, but that's. I
mean, I'm just saying. My question is
true representation of America.
Yeah, but some would argue it is. Like, why do we expect us to be more of a humanitarian to immigrants when we see what we do to our own citizens? I guess that maybe that's a better way.
I see what you're saying. Dad.
Any comments, Kia? Don Brim's comment got to be somewhere on this page. Oh, he just over here trolling us. Okay. Oh, that's because he just asked to join Breaking Bread. Don, I got you. He must be watching it on one of the share.
Dude, that's crazy.
Pam, Radiette, thoughts, comments, calling you out.
Remember, there's a delay.
There's a delay.
That's not right. That's just, I mean, so all right. How, you're right. If they don't treat their own
citizens. Own citizens. If America treats its own citizens a certain way,
yeah, there is no way they're going to treat immigrants.
So is it safe to say it's an unfair expectation that we would treat immigrants any differently than we treat a certain group of our America's own citizens?
Yeah, but what do those people have in common? They're not in power. Immigrants and people that aren't being shown are the people that aren't in power.
Or in power in large enough numbers that can make change or create continuous change, just to say.
And what's tricky about that, man, is if they were real smart with their tactics, not only would they have captured
the majority in power being there.
Yeah, if the majority in power would have been very smart about their tactics, they could spin their narrative in a way that we would even be like, keep them out, because it would then be, because they would almost that would be the point. You're like, shoot, we wouldn't be able to help y'all if y'all let them in. Then we would be out here like, hell no, keep them out. You see what I'm saying? If they spent it that way, and that would be even.
But I think that goes back to a couple conversations ago when we was talking about, like, and I'm gonna speak specifically on Black culture. Like, Black culture is very embracing of, so some to a detriment. Sometimes what people would say is we would put some of our burdens to the side in order to step out on behalf of somebody else. So, Michelle, you was gonna say something?
I just said that's why we need to go vote. If people vote, you know why Social Security never gets cut? Because the majority of voters are over 65. You know why no one touches educational loans? Because young people don't vote. So the more you vote, the more say you have in our government. So just a little shout out to voting.
Okay, we have a comment from my live studio audience.
just to like go along with the voting thing, I think a lot of times people vote for like the president and we want the president to be, but we don't necessarily vote in the local elections. Like people don't come out for that, and sometimes like that's where you see the most change. And so there needs to be more of an emphasis on okay, vote for your local officials because that's what you'll feel more immediately. And your voice actually counts like a lot there, not just like as the nation, but for like your city or your state.
I agree. So the comment was the importance, reiterating the importance of not only voting for presidential or major elections, but also being active in local, city, town, or even state level elections, because that's where your voice is even more magnified, because you can see and feel the impact of your vote at the very local level. So equal are important to vote for the presidential and the major things, but also making sure that you play an active role in your local elections as well.
And I hear that we were talking about this earlier, and I may pronounce her name wrong. In New York, the Democratic Socialist, her name was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She just won against Jim Crowley, who was backed by huge corporations. I'm hearing, including like Facebook and some of the Viacom, and she actually won her. I don't know if it's a primary or anything. I don't know the details. Yeah, she won because people did get out there and vote. So that proves the case specifically in New York.
And we saw that with Alabama and like the guy that Trump was backing and then kind of
the alleged child molester, and I say alleged to I don't want to get sued. But yes.
There's more comments.
So we have 3 comments online. Pam says, it's like Joe said, it's systemic. This is the system upon which the USA has come to govern itself. This is no surprise to me. You keep those with money wealthy. You keep those with power powerful. And the rest of us grind and protest, taking our wins however we can. Amanda says, think about the reasons people don't want immigrants here. Either they're going to take the jobs or they're going to live off welfare. Which one is it? It can't be both. And the people who are saying these things are poor white conservatives. They are afraid. Dawn says, yeah, we understand what they're going through, but there is a difference.
What is that difference?
Elaborate on that point. So let's, while he's elaborating, let's I think there's something there, and maybe that's for a future conversation, but I really want to touch on the perception of what Amanda called out as those, and I'm just going to generalize, those that believe Trump, President Trump, give credit where credit is due, respect. President Trump is on their best interests, but the reality is he's not. So the conservative people that are below the poverty gap. So I want to make sure we table that conversation and come back to that one day.
Radiette wants to reiterate, voting is very important, and even more important is to be an informed voter.
Facts. I could do better at that myself.
Pam says, and to reach out to your officials in the meantime, bring those phones off the hook, make them work for those checks.
Agreed. So we're getting close to our hour. We've got about 5 minutes left. Again, trying to stay respectful of time. So as we think about immigration now, I think we hit on a lot of different things. I think one of the major sticking points is the reason why we believe the perception is why the country is against immigration. And it sounds as if there tends to be a lot of focus right now in the conversation on the fact that those that are in power, primarily, mostly all Caucasian, are trying to maintain the essence of being in the majority, and by opening the border specifically to those countries that are Muslim nations or Latino nations could potentially shift what seems to be what's going to happen, inevitable anyway, in the sense that America as a whole is becoming much more blended.
You guys are convincing me because as we were talking, I did some Googling on, why fight against immigration. Mm-hmm. And there are a number of articles that disband those arguments that they'll take your jobs, they'll get you, they'll be on welfare, which is going to increase taxes. And there are actually facts that represent why that is not true. Yeah. From a number of articles. Now, again, that's me doing a quick Google here, live. So I just want to throw that out there.
But I think that's true though. But I don't know. I want to say that was it a DECA or DACA? How they were saying that 100% of people in DACA haven't committed any crimes, and like there is.
You can't be in DACA if you have a criminal charges. So people in DACA are just kids that were brought over because their parents farmed them too.
Yeah. So I think until Amanda's point, like you can't be on welfare and you can't take our jobs. One or the other.
Funny. I didn't realize that until she said that.
That's kind of. I think
true.
All right, Kia, go ahead.
So John says our ancestors were forced here and made the best out of it. They are trying to get in because they can see what happened. What can happen, sorry. They are trying to keep them out to have control.
Okay. So as we kind of wrap up, Michelle, I'm going to let you go first. Kind of lasting thoughts, comments, just kind of as we kind of wrap up this conversation about immigration. And I'd say wrap it up for today. If, we want to keep it on the table and talk about it again, we for sure can. But what's on your mind as kind of a parting thought? And as you think about that, also, what is a challenge that we can give everybody? I'm going to put that on you this week.
I think just to rethink what illegal means and being an illegal immigrant. People aren't illegal, so maybe I feel like we need to change that. It's undocumented people that are just looking for better lives 9 times out of 10, and to not just base, your thoughts on people from where they are or what their religion is. So, challenge is to maybe speak to someone who is, you think that they may have a connection with immigration. Mm. Their experience, I think that's very eye-opening for a lot of people.
Sounds good. Joe?
I was typing it out because I thought you was going to go next. All right, these are my thoughts. If race/racism is that big of a reason why all these issues remain active in America, whether it be welfare, poverty, hunger, immigration, all of these issues that plague a number of people in America today, if it is racism today, I feel like we've called the single most important lever out that's causing these issues. Now we know what we should be truly focusing our efforts against. Again, we don't have to argue about all of these side issues. We can all band together and argue that point and fight against and expose, those truths and those people that are hiding behind that mask. And if that is going through voting and being informed and also taking a stance of being about equality and equal rights and things of that nature, then to me it just made the fight clearer. Not fight as if we're going to go out here and revolt, but it almost made the fight clearer, as in to say he's the reason. I'm not saying, but President Trump, but that thing is the reason why all of these things are happening. If you tear that down, everything else will not resolve itself, but at least become in a better position. So now I see why breaking bread is always pointing to racism. I mean, we didn't want that. We really didn't want that. We wanted it to be about everything else, but it always came back to that. Yeah. And I never understood why, because it to me was just one piece of the puzzle. But it almost seems like that could be the foundation to why everything else is
just a constant variable,
right?
Unfortunately,
right.
So my last thoughts. I think Amanda, what she said, kind of is always going to stick with me. You can't be on welfare and still in our jobs. So I think that's a great rebuttal. Like that's going to be the one I stick with. And I think the other one for me is and it's kind of I hate leaving it kind of on a sad note, but I'm not surprised at how we treat immigrants when we treat our own citizens a certain way. So for me, it's unfortunate, and it's not anything that as an American I'm proud of. But I look at what I see on the news every day about those within certain communities and people that are citizens of America and what they go through. I'm not surprised by the travesties that I see associated with immigration as well. Lasting comments?
Radiant says it is an issue of maintaining power among white conservative men, just as racism was never initially an issue of color but power.
Yeah.
Dang, man.
That's good. So
We got mobilized. No?
as always, we greatly appreciate everybody's engagement. Again, this is not the end of the conversation. Keep the conversation going. Whether it's on Breaking Bread's platform, the Intentional Conversations, Authentic Listening with goal of seeking understanding, or at your dinner tables with your family and friends. Keep the conversation going. Hopefully, one conversation at a time will help to make the communities better. We'll see you back in 2 weeks. If there's a conversation that you want to put on the table, if you want to continue a conversation, let us know. BreakingBreadOhio@gmail.com. Write us on the Facebook page. Get us on our Instagram page. Reach out to us on our personal socials. Any way that you want to get to us, just let us know. And as always, thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.